We are just drowning in information these days. And have you ever stopped to wonder why some ideas seem to stick in your brain forever, while others just poof, they're gone? Getting a complex idea from your head into someone else's is honestly one of the hardest things to do. But what if there was a blueprint for it? Let's take a look at how the best explainers out there make their ideas completely unforgettable. Seriously, think about it for a second. You read an article, you watch a video, and like 5 minutes later, you can't even remember the main point. But then you stumble across another one that's so clear, so captivating that you literally can't stop thinking about it. What is the difference there? Well, it's not magic, and it's definitely not just about the topic itself. It all comes down to the delivery. So, what really separates the forgettable from the unforgettable? Well, on one side, you've got what I call the data dump. You know the type. It's just full of jargon, abstract ideas, no story to follow. It feels like you're trying to read a textbook. But on the other side, you have the great explainers. They use simple language, they tell a compelling story, and they use really powerful visuals. They don't just throw information at you, they take you on a journey. Okay, so how do they do it? The best online creators, the best science communicators in the world, they don't just wing it. Nope. They use a proven framework for turning these dense, super complicated topics into stories that are crystal clear and memorable. And we're going to call it the creator's blueprint. Now, this blueprint, it's a structured approach that really anyone can learn and use. And it's not about dumbing things down, not at all. It's about building understanding, one step at a time, making connections, and making sure that key message really lands and sticks. It's a system you can actually replicate to become a way better communicator. So, before we dive into the structure itself, you've got to know that it's all built on 3 simple but really powerful principles. Think of these as the pillars holding up the entire thing, making sure nobody gets left behind. First up, make it accessible. The rule of thumb here is amazing. Could a curious teenager follow every single sentence? That simple question forces you to get rid of all the jargon. Second, make it visual. Don't just tell me, right? Show me. Use diagrams, metaphors, cool data visualizations. And third, keep it moving. You want to use reveals and animation to keep people engaged and guide their focus. Okay, now we get to the heart of the blueprint, the narrative structure. This is the secret sauce that transforms a boring list of facts into an actual story. A journey with a real beginning, a middle, and an end. Let's see how it's built. And as you can see, the pros, they get super detailed. They'll often break a script down into 10 different parts, all the way from the initial hook and the big idea, down to acknowledging the limitations and giving a final recap. Every single section has a very specific job to do. But don't worry, you do not need to memorize all 10 of these steps. Yeah, that 10-step process might seem like a lot, but it really just boils down to a classic 3-act structure. First, you've got the opening. That's where you grab attention with a hook and drop the big idea. Then, the core argument, where you lay out the problem, reveal the key insight, and show the results. And finally, the conclusion, where you're honest about the limitations and recap the main takeaways. That right there, that's the narrative engine. All right, let's actually put this blueprint into action. Here is a quote from the abstract of a real research paper. It is dense. It's full of jargon. Pretty typical stuff, right? If I just started reading this out loud, you'd be asleep in about 10 seconds. So how do we use the blueprint to make this actually interesting? We start with a hook. Instead of all that jargon, we ask a surprising, personal question that creates a curiosity gap. What if your AI assistant could be brilliant and private? See, all of a sudden, we're not talking about augmentation strategies or talking about something that could actually impact your life. Next up, we follow that make it accessible principle. We have to define our terms. So what is retrieval augmented generation, or RAG? Well, put simply, it's a way to help an AI answer questions by having it first look up relevant facts from a library of information. It's kind of like an open book exam for an AI. See? No crazy jargon needed. Now we get to the real core of the story, the problem and the insight. The paper compares 2 different methods. You've got RAG, which directly looks for answers, and then there's this other method, HyDE, which does something really clever. It first imagines what a perfect answer would look like, and then it searches for documents that are similar to that imagined answer. It's a pretty cool contrast, right? And then the results. This is the payoff. Following the make it visual principle, this bar chart tells the whole story instantly. The standard method takes about 9 seconds. RAG is faster, clocking in under 8. But HyDE, The clever one is actually way slower, taking over 13 seconds. The takeaway is crystal clear. For speed and efficiency, RAG is the winner here. So, we've seen the blueprint in action, but why is it so effective? Well, it's not just about being organized. It's actually about aligning with the fundamental way our brains are wired to learn and remember stuff. This structure works because it taps directly into how we think. A hook sparks curiosity, which literally primes your brain for learning. Building knowledge brick by brick prevents you from getting overwhelmed, and framing it as a journey with a problem, a struggle, and a breakthrough gives our minds a clear path to follow. And finally, that payoff. It gives a satisfying resolution, closing that curiosity loop you opened at the start and giving your brain a little dopamine hit that helps lock in the memory. So the next time you have to explain something complex, whether it's at work, for a project, or even just to a friend, remember the blueprint. Start with a hook, build a narrative, and make it visual. The power to create real understanding isn't some rare talent. It's a skill that you can build. The only question left is, what complex idea are you going to explain first?